Every time that you write down your goals or you tell yourself that you're going to do something and you don't achieve it, it's setting yourself up for failure. Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to goal set and how to become aware of the habits that you have around goal setting, so that way you can become more successful in any journey, regardless of where you're at. It doesn't have to be fitness. It can be your financial goals. It can be your career goals, your relationship goals, whatever it may be. This 4-step pillar framework is going to help you a lot, because I use it with all my clients. It works for me to this day, and I want to make sure that I give you the value in order for you to see how to use this. And we're going to go through how to approach each pillar with confidence and actually going and moving through it completely. Otherwise, if you get stuck at one pillar, the next pillar won't work. So please watch the video. Let me know if you get anything out of it, and I'll see you in there.
Welcome to our group call, guys. I think this is low-key the first one of the month because we skipped one because I had my birthday. So, GG. But we usually do these bi-weekly if you're not aware. But I decided to kind of supplement a topic that Ash talked about yesterday on her call. And this one comes with some prompts. So if you have your notepad or, in your phone or a piece of paper and a pen, that helps too. Either way, whatever you want to do, it helps a lot. But this one is goal setting with a winner's mindset. I try to give it as much structure as possible, so that way you guys get more like tangible frameworks to use. So goal setting. So I'll start with confidence, because I want to shift your mindset before we get into goal setting and tangible stuff. So confidence. So over the years, I've figured out that confidence is really not built by shouting affirmations in the mirror, right? A lot of people like to think that confidence is more so like an inner thing. It is more so an action-related thing, right? I believe confidence is having a stack of proof that you are who you say you are, right? Holding integrity and having confidence to show up as the person that you are, who you say you are, right? You want to make sure that you can show up as that person consistently, and that's what confidence is built on. So a question for you guys would be, how many times have you felt unmotivated or discouraged when you fail? Right? That basically brings down confidence. So it took me 4 years of struggling with my relationship with food before I found out what worked. It took me 3 years of struggling to pay bills to make it in business and become a great coach. The whole point of this is going to take time. Well, it's also going to take me a lifetime of self-development to continue making iterations of myself and become the best version of myself every time. So you want to continue stacking iterations of yourself to continue building that confidence, right? So confidence is built like foundation of a house. The foundation is all ugly concrete, wood framework, and plumbing and all that stuff, right? That's what keeps the house a house, right? You don't want to build your foundation on sand. You need to build it on the concrete. You want to make sure it's stable. Otherwise, if you don't have foundation and if you don't have confidence and proof that you are who you say you are, then none of it really matters. So inputs and outputs. So we're here to crush our goals and set goals. So the first thing you're going to need to focus on is inputs, right? A lot of people want to just focus on the weight loss goal, how long it's going to take me to get there, blah, 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 right? I don't care about that. All I care about is inputs. Inputs are actions, behaviors, and processes within your control that contribute to a greater goal, right? That's basically a definition. So fuck the outputs. What happens is a result of your inputs. So an example would be exercising regularly, eating healthy meals with protein, touching grass and getting some sun, studying or working for a number of hours, things that you can control, right? And honestly, fuck the outputs. Because what happens is a result of your inputs, but obviously the outputs are often influenced by other things that are outside of your control, right? That's just like life. So examples would be, what about tanning beds? Tanning beds is not an input whatsoever. I don't think that's anything. So an example of an output would be weight loss or muscle gain, right? You can't control the rate at which it happens, but you can control the actions that go towards it. Quotas, for business, for work, or your personal goals, stuff like that. And you probably heard this quote somewhere before where they say, dream really big and grind until you make it, right? That can be true, but more often than not, that can lead to really burning yourself out really fast. No, you don't want to do that, because the bigger the dream, the longer the road, right? And most people have a very short-term mindset. So, oh, I got ahead of myself. And most people have a mindset that looks at the course over the course of 1 to 4 weeks, right? Or even less, right? A month or so. Therefore, if you don't hit that goal that you set yourself towards, you feel like a failure, and then you stress out, and because you don't hit the goal, right? And then you start to feel anxious because like, I'm going to give up on my thing. And then you just kind of go back into old habits, right? Very normal, right? But not in this container, obviously. That's why I hold you accountable to making sure that you have structure, and I can redirect you and have structure around your goals. So control the controllables. So instead of focusing on the outputs and how far that goal is, how long it takes, focus on what you can control, right? Because focusing on the outputs is like standing in a garden and willing the flowers to grow, right? That's not how you grow a garden, right? Instead, you should be focusing on adding fertilizer, pulling the weeds, adding clean water, making sure they get some sunlight, and you as well, you know? And you did the work. You're not wishing for them to grow, right? You're actually putting in effort. So think like, how can I get stronger today? How can I eat better today? How many people can I talk to today to push my business? How many more emails can I send out? What behaviors will help me today? How much closer to my protein target can I get today? Am I getting my workouts in? If you repeat successful actions, success becomes inevitable. I will repeat that again. If you repeat successful actions, success becomes inevitable, right? Obviously, consistency is everything, but you want to make sure that more times that you're not repeating those successful actions becomes minimal. So continuing with controlling the controllables. So like I said, you can't control how much weight you lose, but you can control how much you eat, how much activity you do. So you want to detach from the results, because at the end of the day, the number doesn't really matter as long as you are repeating the same actions and obviously tweaking them to make sure that they're more efficient and they work for you and you're getting better, right? But at some point, you're just going to get really good and there's no need to get better. So another good analogy would be, it's like investing your money, right? Like in the stock market or whatever, real estate. You might not get immediate ROI for like a year, right? Real estate, you kind of have to let it sit, so especially with the stock market, 6% a year, whatever. You let it sit and continue adding, but you continue adding over the course of the year, right? And let it continue compounding. The return will come eventually. So the main reason why people don't get to their goals is because they quit. And they quit because they get discouraged seeing the inputs not working. So that's because time is an illusion, right? You see the inputs working over the course of time and you're like, Mike, I've been doing this for years and I still haven't found success. It's because you're doing the inputs and you're not seeing any success. I get it. It's very normal. So the reason why is because you're probably using lagging indicators. So leading indicators and lagging indicators for inputs and outputs. Leading indicators are actions that can predict success, right? Actions that are in your control, right? A leading indicator is things that you basically get almost like a dopamine hit off of and you can measure on a day-to-day basis. Lagging indicators are things that happen as a result from that. So these are often out of your control though. You know, lagging indicators are like all the actions that you input today in terms of your health, your nutrition, or even your work-life balance, or even your relationship, you won't see until like months from now, right? They all compound. So an example would be, if your goal is to lose weight, track how many days you hit your workouts, macros, steps, sleep, etc. Don't track how much weight you lost though. That number doesn't fucking matter. Okay, so continuing, time is an illusion. So If I told you though, you're going to be the best version of you and you're going to have everything you desire as long as you continue XYZ, you can put whatever you want in XYZ, but it's going to take 5 years minimum. Would you continue? Would you still do it? Would you eliminate the fear of failure? Because if I gave you a guarantee of 5 years, would that help? Or would you say that's too fucking long? Fuck that. So this is where time doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, you are here to make it more so a lifestyle, and obviously to continue crushing the goals that you set, which I'll get into, I promise. So your future self is built on today's actions, not what the actions you're doing in 2 years, right? Like I said earlier, your future self is built on what you do today, and you won't see the fruition, you won't see those fruits of your labor until months from now. So if you continue stacking though, you're going to eventually get there. And another thing is your current reality right now, the reality you're experiencing, is a result of compounding actions that took the course, or over the course of a couple years, right? Like where you are right now is a result of actions that you took over the course of years and years and years. So no one woke up 50 pounds overweight or underweight from last week, right? No one woke up thousands of dollars in debt from last week. No one woke up with health problems from yesterday. So they all stacked up over the course of months and years. So when you give yourself 1 to 2 months of trying to succeed and you don't see any success, you're viewing it wrong, right? And you're giving up too early. I would give yourself a minimum of a 1-to-1 ratio. If you do better than that, you're better than 99% of the population that isn't doing anything. And they see that at 5 years and they're like, that's way too long. But the time is going to pass anyway. It's going to pass anyway, whether you like it or not. So going back to controlling the controllables, time is something you cannot control, but you can control the actions that you put within that time. So the more you compound those actions within that time, guess what? It compounds. Funny, right? So the actions you must take must compound over the course of years. So now let's get into goal setting. So here's a couple pillars. I'm going to make probably like a resource on this, because it's something that I want to start implementing with everyone. And I created it like last week, and I want to make sure that it makes more sense as we start to go through it. So for goal setting, now that you're controlling the controllables and taking actions, we want to bring awareness to what you do. So I have 4 pillars for goal setting. So if you want to take screenshots, you can. So they're all A's. It's very easy to remember. Awareness is the first one. Affiliations, aptitude, and autonomy. So I'll explain what they all mean, but we're going to start one by one. Awareness is the biggest one. It is the biggest one in a sense that everyone is mostly here. And I like to say that, some people come to me with toxic awareness, where they know that the things that they need to change and they don't do anything about it. So if you're toxically aware of your habits and behaviors that what you need to do, then this is going to help you a lot, because we need to move through that. So anyway, awareness, become aware of what the problems actually are, right? What are your problems right now that you're facing that are not helping you get to your goals? So you want to recognize your actions, your behaviors, your mindset, etc., that are holding you back. And you can refer to Ash's call. Like I said, these Ash's prompts, the things that she said, what do you need to let go of and who do you need to become in order for you to start seeing more so the future you, right? Like identities, right? This can be a whole nother call as identities, but I just want to keep it very simple here. Like, what actions, behaviors, and mindsets do you need to let go of? So recognize those, because these can be hard, but obviously be aware of them, right? So you cannot change you cannot change what cannot be measured, right? If I didn't know how much you were eating, I would not be able to change. If I didn't know how much you were moving, I would not be able to change. So on. There's a gray area when this comes to like mindset, right? Because you can't really measure a lot of mindset, but there's probably different ways that I can think of right now. So anyway, so you want to track your actions, your triggers, your habits, your routines, these can either hinder us or support us, right? Actions are like, I'm waking up at an hour late every day, 4 days out of the week, right? Lately, my body has not been recovering, me personally. So I've been waking up like 30 minutes late. Past my alarm, I'm like, fuck, I'm late. And I got to rush to the gym. Triggers. Are you getting triggered? Are you feeling angry at certain parts of the day, like tired or angry or anxious or annoyed? What is it? What's triggering that? Habits. When do you feel cravings start to kick in? When do you start to see yourself like go back to old habits? Stuff like that. And routines. You get the idea. You have to ask yourself, what am I doing that's preventing me from hitting my goals? It's a big question. You can take a screenshot, well, in a little bit. So it can be painful observing because you're looking at the real shit, right? This is the toxic awareness that a lot of people like to kind of hang out at. But it's more painful to remain in the same cycle. So you got to choose. One pain only moves you forward. And that's on awareness. So take a screenshot of this. This is the awareness slide if you want. And there'll be prompts at the end, I promise. That actually there's a prompt right after this. So just kidding. Yes, cool. So the prompt for awareness. What are 3 habits? You can just stick to 3 if you want. If you can do more, you're a superstar. 3 habits, actions, and behaviors that you would like to shift into the positive in the next year. I'm going to kind of do what Ash did. I'm going to give everyone like 3 or so minutes, a minute per habit, action, behavior, and write them down. Like I said, I know you're driving, Anthony, so kind of think on it or take a screenshot. I can't see you driving. But write them down, and then I'll move on. I'll give everyone a little bit. And if you have any questions, drop them in the chat in the middle. Oh, I need to do what Ash does actually. Drop a 1 in the chat when you actually did all the things that you wrote down all your habits. Drop a 1. Nice. And then he said, snacking, gym talks, self-care, as in stretching and resting. Okay. Gym talks and self-care. Okay, good. Those are good. Very simple. Gerardo. Drop a 1 in the chat. And I'll move on. Give me like 2 more ones. Sky, cool. 1 more. Rudy, solid. Okay, let's move on. Take a screenshot if you didn't finish. So the next pillar, affiliations, right? So affiliations, if you think about it, it's the people around you. Show me the 5 people you spend the most time with, and I'll show you your future. I'm sure you've heard that, right? Spend time with family, friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whoever. If you're spending time with people who don't support you, you're choosing to spend time with them, right? You are choosing to be around people that do not support you. That is a conscious decision. So maybe that can go back to awareness. So if they're making fun of you for losing weight, or if they're making fun of you for eating healthier, or if they're making fun of you for like training a certain way, or even tracking your food while they're drinking and eating pizza, or if they're just not supporting you and they're like talking behind your back or whatever, right? If you don't have supportive friends, that's a big sign. That's a big red flag. Get out. So, oh shit. That was that simple, I guess. So I guess the next prompt for this one is this one's going to be really hard. Okay. So since we're talking about people, this one has a couple questions. Okay. Who are you spending the most time with, and how are they serving you, or how are you serving them? Do you see yourself outgrowing them in the next year? It's a big one. And who do you need to let go of to become great? Ash's prompts would help a lot here too. So, and honestly, if you want to be super woo-woo and like introspective, you can talk about the identities that you wrote down in Ash's call about yourself, like who you need to let go of in terms of identities. But more so, this is directed towards affiliations with people that are around you, right? Because those always influence us more than anything. So I'll give y'all another 3 minutes. Write the first people that come to your mind. Don't even question it and just write it down. It's going to be hard as fuck, and I get it. No one knows other than you. Write a 1 in the chat when you're done. Solid. Couple people. Cool. Jordan, Sky, Gerardo, Jeff. Cool. Let's get it. Good job, guys. All right. Well, I'll take a screenshot of that. I'll go back to real quick if you haven't taken a screenshot. So that way, if you need to, shit, wrong. No, go back, Mike. Fucking hell. Take a screenshot of the last, this one if you want, for the second pillar, which is affiliations. Okay. So moving on. Third pillar is aptitude. Right, it's a big fancy word to basically say having skills and knowledge and the aptitude to do all this. I try to make them all A's, and that's the only word that came up. So having the skills and knowledge and the abilities to do the things you need to do and solve the problems effectively, right? So now that you have awareness of your problems, you know who's around you, right? This is where aptitude comes in. This is like getting a coach, learning from friends, learning from YouTube University, Googling, ChatGPT, all this stuff, right? Or people in general, because people are going to be your best resources. So if your goal, for example, is public speaking, you're going to take classes, you're going to practice regularly, you're going to seek feedback and improve, right? Very simple. If your goal is to get jacked and add muscle, you're going to jump on a program with structure, you're going to train regularly, you're going to eat good, and you're going to get feedback and form. Oh, Anthony dropped some vulnerable. Let's go. Good shit, dude. I'll read this before I continue. He said, most of the time is with my army friend Noah and my arm wrestling group and my girlfriend, other than not anyone. In some way, I am past them, and others I am striving to be and working towards it, hopefully. I need to let go of my flirty self and wanting to prove my worth to everyone when self-worth is really all that matters. Fuck yeah, dude. That's amazing. Hell yeah. Love that you answered that very detailed. Good shit. Definitely take a screenshot of that and write them down because these are going to be important for you to keep these answers. So write them down somewhere like that you can keep outside of this chat. Good shit, man. So anyway, aptitude, right? Having the skills and knowledge and abilities. So you wanting to hit your goals does not equal hitting your goals, right? Like I said in the beginning, confidence is built on not shouting affirmations in the mirror, it's having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Taking action on building discipline and staying consistent does equal hitting your goals, though. So it's not that you need to want it more, it's that you need more skill, right? Or you need more knowledge or abilities, whatever. Replace this whatever with whatever you want. You need more of the action that you're missing to get to your goals, right? So now for the prompt on aptitude. Now this one is a thinker, so if you need to sit on it, go for it, because this one can be like, what do I actually need? And this one's kind of where people don't know. So if you need help on our one-on-one calls, you can ask me. But yeah, so the prompt is, what are you really good at that helps you level up? What are your strengths? That one's pretty easy. Now, what are your weaknesses? Feels like an interview, huh? Which one of the weaknesses need the most attention so that your strengths can become stronger, right? Your strengths are only as strong as your weakest link. So therefore, you need to work on the weaknesses that complement the strengths. And this is not an interview where you're like, oh, but I can turn my weakness into a strength. Actually, well, maybe you can. Maybe you can. But I'll give you guys another 3 minutes. Drop a 1 in the chat when you're done. Or 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, we'll see. Let's see how y'all get it done. But if you need more time, drop a 0. So I can tell. Because like I said, it might take a little bit more time. Which is fine. Anthony said, good at fitting in or matching my environment. Weakness is my anger and short temper. I'd say my patience is what needs work. That would probably help my temper just being but more patient. Yeah, good dude. That's good. Whenever you want to work on patience, you're gonna get tested with things that tick you off. Ask me how I know. So it's very normal that your weakness is your short temper. But if you want to work on patience, that's good, right? Direct opposite. So look at all the things that tick you off and then ask yourself how you can basically regulate through those things or reflect on it or respond instead of react. I feel like a lot of people are trying to think on this question. Drop a 0 in the chat if you all need more time, or a 1 if you're done. Solid. Gerardo, GF, Rudy, cool. Jordan, cool. Solid. Let us continue. Take a screenshot if you did not finish. The last pillar: awareness, affiliations, aptitude, and we got autonomy. What is autonomy? We all are. Everyone is an autonomous individual. So autonomy basically means, having free will and just doing things by yourself. Autonomous, right? So you can't rely on others. Only you are responsible for your inputs. Am I an AI robot? No, not like that, dude. Kinda. I mean, AI doesn't have free will. So, that's the beauty about autonomy. So I can't eat the food for you. I can't go to the gym for you. I can't wake up earlier for you. My role as a coach is to guide you and make it easier for you to see the results and understand how to problem solve and make this entire pillar process a lot easier and more efficient. Because a lot of people are stuck in awareness their entire life. We don't want to do that. So, and this is where you take responsibility, right? It's not he or she's fault. Like if you start blaming a lot of people in affiliations, that's where you're losing, right? You want to make sure that you're taking a lot of responsibility for your current reality because it's your choice. All the choices that you made up until this point, right? Good or bad, right? Aptitude plus autonomy is a great success. So, and the reason I say that is because if you have all the skills and the knowledge and you're practicing and you're taking action on all those things and you're doing them by yourself, guess what? You're seeing success, right? You're doing them at a consistent rate. Meaning you learn and build skills from someone who has them already for years, and then you go and practice and then replicate those actions and skills, and then you get some results, you come back and you do it again. Fun, huh? So to the prompt 4, this one is, what do you need to consistently integrate into your daily life to help you feel autonomous, right? These are things that, it can be super simple or super complicated. It just depends on what you want to make you feel more, I guess, quote unquote, independent, right? In certain areas of your life. And the next question, what does autonomous mean to you? It can mean a lot of different things, but for me, it's like free will and being able to be grateful for solitude and being able to do things by myself without like needing many people. So an example would be, I only feel autonomous when I have a plan because I need direction. I can do everything by myself, second nature, right? That's super autonomous. Or it can be, I need to be surrounded by people doing the same thing, but that just still means that you're doing the thing just by yourself, but you're just replicating their habits. And the next question is, what do you want the future autonomous version of you to be? Right? How do you want to start acting? This one's a pretty deep one. Oh, shit. This one's a pretty deep one, so I'll give you another 3 minutes. Honestly, you might need a little longer, but yeah, I'll give you 4 minutes. And you guys can drop a 1 in the chat. And if you have any questions that are coming up like that are kind of confusing, drop them in the chat, or you can come off mute. Either way, up to you. I know this one can kind of, stump people. Let's see. Sky said, what do I need to consistently integrate daily check-ins with myself, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? Love that. Clear boundaries, movement, nice. Intentional alone time, saying yes to me first. Beautiful. We love this. This is good. Okay, and then what does autonomous mean to me? Being in control of my life, my choices, and my peace without needing permission or approval from anyone else. Fuck yeah, let's go. That's a good answer. Yes, yes. My choices, my peace without needing permission or approval from anyone else. So then the question would beg, who is creating the chaos and the disruption of the peace? That is, I guess, who is taking control of your choices, basically? Without, or like, who do you need permission from? And I guess that would go back to the affiliations question. Like, who do you need to let go of? So that one, you can go a little deeper if you want to start picking that one apart, Sky. Anthony said, being more intentional and pre-plan with things I can in life to save time. I will need help with the autonomous part. Yeah, dude. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I mean, I can help you with that. Easy. Being more intentional and pre-plan with things that can save time. Yeah, dude. I'm all about efficiency. I try my best, even though sometimes my work blocks aren't as efficient as I'd like. But you know, we're human. So as long as you're efficient more oftentimes than not, success will be inevitable, like I said earlier. So yeah, that's good. Good answers, guys. I like these. These are good. These are good. You can either share. Remember to put these in outside of the chat, obviously. Keep them somewhere because the end is going to be very. There's a lot of reflection at the end. A lot of reflection. So, but yeah, drop a one in the chat when you're done, or you guys can share. It's up to you. I love all the shares. It's awesome. I like these. Nice. We got Jeff and Gerardo. You guys are usually the first ones. Nice. Sky and Daniel beat us. This one made me think. Yeah, dude. If it makes you think and you need more time, like I said, take a screenshot and you can always think about it. I know it's a lot, but yeah. Well, does anyone need more time? Drop a zero if you need more time. No? Okay. Well, I'm going to move on. Okay. So here's a big prompt. Okay. This one's a meditation prompt. Listen very clearly because this one's, I haven't asked many people to meditate. So I want to do it in a group style because those that can will, and those that can't, you know, I'll talk to you in person. Anyway, I want you all to reflect on all these goals that you just wrote down. This is how your future self is going to operate, act, behave, and perceive the world. Now we're going to visualize because, as you know, action means nothing without direction in the mind, right? You need, quote, these aren't affirmations, These are more so giving you a clear picture of how you want to feel, act, sound like, and everything else. Because Ash from yesterday, Ash was basically saying, and this is very true, right? Your body doesn't know the difference between thoughts and actual reality, right? You can close your eyes. You can think of your happiest memory that you've ever had in your life. Think and be very clear on it, and you will feel the happiness in your body, right? You can, if you meditate for long enough. Now, what you're going to do, this is the meditation prompt. You're going to take a pen, write down exactly what your life looks like, feels like, sounds like when you implement all the things that we talked about. How do you act, think, feel? What energy do you embody? And for the next 7 days, okay, this is big, okay? I want you all to fucking do this. I'm going to keep up with you. For the next 7 days, I want you all to meditate for at least 10 to 15 minutes on this. You're going to wake up or before sleep, but ideally when you wake up, because that's when your mind is still in theta state, meaning still in the dream state, and it only happens after you wake up and before sleep. Theta. So anyway, you're going to wake up, mentally rehearse that life, feel it in your body, allow it to trigger an emotional state of gratitude or whatever comes up, right? If you feel anger or if you feel anxious or if you feel like shivers, you're getting a response because your body will respond if you're thinking clearly on it. So your body will respond and you will feel drastically different. You want to allow yourself to, not allow yourself, but basically as you start, your body starts to respond, you're going to start to feel yourself listening more to your instincts and nudges from your future higher self, right? And I like to call these divine nudges, right? When you start to, I get it through prayer, or I get it through talking to the universe, God, whoever, and then talking to myself. And then it's like, oh, you get those little signs, right? And you can think about it from a scientific perspective, which is called like the reticular activating system in your brain that only sees things that you've thought about for the past 24 hours or so. It's like, yeah. So anyway, but regardless, the whole point is meditating on this. So that way you have a clear idea of what that life looks like for you. And I promise you will start to see change. Okay. So take a screenshot of this because there's more after this slide. Give you all like 1, 2, 3. Okay. So here's what's cool about this. Okay. You just prove to yourself that you know exactly what you need to do. You literally just wrote it all down. Well, when you do. Now you need to embody and act in accordance. And I had a call on this. I forget what the title is called. I forget what it's called. I'm going to have to look it up. I'll drop it in the Discord or something. But it's basically projecting all the actions that your higher self would do and then bringing them into the now. And that's it. It's super simple. That is manifestation in a nutshell, correct? This realization can literally shift your life if you do it correctly and consistently, right? If you do the successful actions consistently, success is inevitable, right? This is where the phrase, what would Jesus do, came from. Maybe it didn't, maybe it did. Who knows? But I think so. Now you have an exact roadmap to get where you want to go. Actions will speak louder than words, and your mind will only go as far as you allow it, right? Imagination is key here, right? If you limit yourself in this visualization, your reality will only replicate that. Oh, it's mirrors. It's called mirrors. That's the call. There we go, right? Everything is a mirror from your thoughts, and everything starts in your brain, and then everything in your reality is just a mirror of that. So if you weren't on that call, I'll drop it in the Discord or in the Instagram, either way. Yeah, good call. Anyway, that's it. I don't have anything else after that. I stopped. My brain stopped. So that's funny how I said that and then my brain stopped. That's not cool. So anyway, take a screenshot of this if you want, but it's not necessarily a prompt. But does anyone have any questions? Did we like this? Is this good? Because I need to get back into meditation, so this is probably a sign for me because I like breath work more than anything. But if you like this, or if you got anything out of the basically the pillars. That's what I meant. Come off mute. Let me know. I love to hear. Any feedback is great. This is great.
I swear, all these calls hit every time.
Let's go.
It's so crazy because this morning I was telling my roommates, I was like, I just woke up so angry at my mom this morning because I don't know, I guess just a lot of stuff like in the past.
Yeah.
And I had a dream about it last night. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I really need to let go of this because this is really just keeping me from being like my true self. You know, just seeking that validation and everything from my parents. Because I don't know, I guess like in the Mexican household, like you always want to do as they say and be your best self, but not really like acknowledge your progress as you're going through it. So nothing's ever enough, right?
Correct.
So it's just crazy how I had this dream last night, and then like now all of this is like tying into that.
That's crazy. That's pretty nuts. Divine timing, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Or divine nudges, whatever you want to call them. But I call them divine timing, divine nudges. It's all the same stuff. I love that. So, I mean, now there's some good reflection. There's some medicine for you. Now you kind of have an idea of how you can move through it. Yeah, that's good. Subconscious is talking to you.
Now I'll go cry at the gym.
Yeah. So let me know. We'll talk on our call, obviously. But, you know, if you have anything that comes out of this, let me know in this coming week. From now until next Wednesday.
Yes. Will do.
Jeff said, that sounds like growing up in an island household. Like when I was doing my check-ins, it's sometimes hard to think about my wins. Yeah, dude. Exactly. So the island households, Hispanic households, most households in general, like everyone has their own, I guess, let's just call it trauma from not being able to recognize their own wins and actions that they take. I've had to shift a lot of mindsets to kind of help with that. But, you know, you showing up to this call is a huge win. You know, most people kind of just like, oh, I'm off work and I'm tired and kind of late, so I don't want to do it. And then they don't watch the video after. So, you know, you show up to what you want to receive. But yeah, dude. And then Anthony said, breathwork is awesome. I'd say pillars, tough in a good way. Questions are great. I need more to reflect on. Maybe I can tell you more personal stuff on the next call. I'm a very intellectual person that relies too much on logic. Yeah, dude. I get that. I can definitely see that, brother. You kind of just told me that at the end of our call with your therapist. So I understand. I understand where you're coming from. So I can ask you a couple questions and see how we can help. But yes, absolutely. Solid wins, guys. I mean, that was awesome. Good reflections. I want to hear anyone else. Anyone else have any good reflections that, or if you were on Ash's call yesterday, if this integrates with any of that, let me know because that's helpful too.
I was typing mine, but I decided it was getting too long. I think for me, what stood out was the autonomy piece. The reason why I started this journey with y'all was because I felt like a lot of things in my life are either a standstill or I can't control it, or I feel like I'm constantly giving to others and it's not me. So like that, I felt like a lot was my life is owned by everybody else. And so as I'm answering these questions, I was like, okay, cool. And it's funny because I'm a counselor, so I tell my kids to do these kind of things all the time.
Nice.
And so like it's nice for me to actually sit down and be intentional and do it for myself.
Yeah.
And finally get to practice what I preach. And I mean, overall, all the pillars are great. I was being a nerd and just taking notes like crazy.
I'm glad, dude. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's more so of a question of like who helps the helper.
Yeah.
Even people that are in the service field, they need help regardless. Everyone needs help to some extent. So, you know, I have a coach. I have people that help me with this stuff. Ash helps me all the time. I help Ash. So stuff like that. I'm glad that you're able to kind of take the time to reflect on it because everyone deserves that.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Anyone else? Good reflections? Ali said, autonomy is one of the things I'm constantly working on. Okay, how so? Why are you constantly working on it? Why do you feel the need to, or what do you need to let go of to feel autonomous?
I think just being more, I mean, one of my goals is to be like financially free and just stable in life. And just knowing, I think just being more aware of like what resources are the right ones and not having to rely as much on like the wrong people to get me to the right place, if that makes any sense. I feel like that doesn't make any sense, but I don't know, just like knowing which resources are the right resources, because I mean everybody needs help to get where they need to go, but it's like there's a lot of bullshit you have to sift through. And like, I mean, for example, just like with my car, you know, I don't know anything about cars, and for me, as long as the light's not on, it's a win. But um I know there's something wrong with it and I should probably do some more research. You know what I mean? Like learn more
Okay.
about the car so that I don't have to like rely on like sketchy workshops and the internet and all that to figure out what's wrong.
Okay, this goes back to affiliations as
Yeah.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Affiliations and aptitude. So
Yeah.
like it's, I mean, obviously there's a spectrum of priority with all
Right.
this. You know, if cars is something that is not super important to you for you to like learn and build skill on,
Yeah, exactly.
then maybe it's outsourcing that is fine. But if you know fitness and you being more financially independent and wealthy is a high priority,
Mm-hmm.
and being affiliated with people that are in that circle and surrounding yourself with that
Right.
much more important and prioritizing that. So it's kind of outsourcing. There's a spectrum, right? There's priorities.
Yeah. It's hard sometimes to like sift through what's right, because like at the same time I'm like wanting to be like a strong independent girl, but I know I've already done a lot to like remove people who don't add to my life anymore,
Mhm.
and just like surround myself with more positive people. But yeah, like sometimes it's the priority of all of it. Like sometimes it can be a little overwhelming, but it's something that I just constantly try and work towards.
That's fair. That's good.
Y-
So you kind of already worked through affiliations, kind of.
Yeah.
So now it's just more surrounding yourself with the people that you actually want to be with and hang around with that you want to replicate.
Hmm.
And also, yeah, just kind of order your priority list to help you
Right.
help you feel more autonomous.
Hmm.
Does that kind of help?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. That's good. I know, I feel you. I'm still trying to be more autonomous too, but you know, having affiliated people that help you feel more autonomous is always a big win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jordan, do you have anything? I think this is your first call, right? Are you still here?
Yeah, I'm was pretty impressed with like the timing of all the things that were talked about. I'll be
Beautiful.
moving to South Korea in a couple of months, and so that really has me spiraling a little bit about what to expect.
Yeah.
And so accountability, of continuing to do things that reduce anxiety or things that I want to do while I'm over there. I know I'm a nurse practitioner, so working is probably going to be very hard for me to do. So finding something that will make me feel like, or, just kind of like soothe that um,
Feel?
worker's heart that I have.
Uh-huh.
And what I can do to fulfill that, whether it's volunteering at the hospital, the Red Cross, like, those types of things. I'll be relying on my spouse in a way that I haven't before, financially. And then also if I'm, not working, I'll be in a new role myself. But I'm smart. I'm very independent.
Mhm.
I have to have my autonomy. I have to feel like I have like the sense of purpose. I can't just ride somebody's coattails. I have to make my own way and, feel like I'm making a difference in somebody's life. And so having, all of those pillars to meditate over and how this is going to impact me in the coming, 3 years, just great timing, a lot to think about,
Yeah.
and just kind of sit in anticipation is probably going to be the hardest part, but since I don't know what to expect, and it'll just be good thoughts to move forward and just make the next or this transition um as positive as possible.
Yeah, that's good. I love that. Yeah, it sounds like autonomous is something that you've already dialed in for sure. It's more so how can you surround yourself with people in Korea? Because Korea's pretty friendly, honestly. I've met a lot of cool people in Korea. You'll find a lot of West.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always moving, just every like so much gets weighs on you a little bit, just
Yeah.
because you don't feel that connection with people for a while, just because you're just getting to know people, and you
Mhm.
can't really tell them all like your like
Entire life
I don't
story.
know. Yeah, like you can't do that. So it takes a while to build connection, and
Mhm.
I thrive on that. And so you know it's just I'll just be relying on, like I said, my spouse, my family,
Yeah.
for a lot of that. I would
So
say for about 6 months or so, I'm expecting.
yeah. And that's where
For
it's going to be important to be, to start affiliating yourself with people that are in, I guess, a service-based industry that helps fulfill you and get that worker's heart start moving, I guess, because I know how hard it can be to like not feel like you're serving your purpose. So
Yeah,
eh,
yeah,
getting resourceful and talking to people, or like you said, volunteering and then networking from there on, and then you never know where you're going to end up. Yeah, but I'm excited for you. I think there's going to be a lot of good that comes out of it, honestly, as long as you work on all the pillars and and think on it. Let me know what comes out of it, because this is, yeah, it sounds like it's going to come. There's going to a lot that's going to come out of the meditation more than anything in the
yeah,
visualization. So it's going to be a little hard to visualize because you've never been there, but you can still predict the life and kind of visualize a life and how you want to feel, sound, act, all that stuff. And
yeah, for sure. Traveling for sure. That's already down. So.
yeah, I'm glad that good timing then, divine timing, isn't it? Cool.
Hmm.
Good. I chose a good topic this week. Nice. Nice. But yeah, I'll send the mirrors call in the chat, but I'll also have to edit this eventually. This will be up on YouTube if you ever want to rewatch it. But you guys have screenshots if you need them. If you have any questions, you can always hit me up and I can ask them, or I can answer them. Good call though, guys. Appreciate y'all being here. Does anyone have any last reflections before we go? Okay. Well, happy Wednesday. Let me know if you guys need anything in the chat. Have a great night. I'll see y'all later. Okay, bye. Bye.